So is this out of the places you've gone, is it your personal favorite? Obviously, it's a subjective question, but is it your new personal favorite for an RV resort that just ticks off all the boxes for you and Nancy? Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the RV Atlas. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that our bread and butter is bringing you great campground reviews from all over the country so that you know where you can camp next. And of course, we have two books out. We have Where Should We Camp Next and Where Should We Camp Next National Parks. So if you're looking for great resources for finding campgrounds, go grab copies of those books, but also tune into this podcast every week. And I really do also like to bring you reviews of the latest and the greatest and the newest places out there that everybody's talking about and places that are kind of buzzworthy. And one of the ways we get those reviews is because we have great correspondents that come on the show. So today I'm thrilled to have back on the RV Atlas podcast Bill Sferaza. Bill has become a great friend of mine over the past few years, though I haven't seen him in a while. And Bill's a real resort camper along with his wife, Nancy. They really like that is their RV travel style. They love to hit the resorts up and down the East Coast, from where we are in New York and New Jersey, all the way down to Florida. So for their spring break, they went to Hilton Head National RV Resort, and Bill and Nancy like absolutely loved it. They're talking about it like it's their favorite resort up and down the East Coast right now. And Bill doesn't mince words. He's a pretty straight shooter about things. So when he says like this is his favorite RV resort, the guy has been to a lot of them, and I really trust his opinion. So he's got, I mean, just to give you a little sneak peek here, he's got a rave review for us of the Hilton Head National RV Resort. He's going to give us all the details about the campground. He's going to talk about all the amenities, the different campsites, and he's going to talk about some things that they did while they were visiting Hilton Head. So hang on, we'll be back in a second, and we're going to have a great review of Hilton Head National RV Resort. But before we do so, we have a sponsored message from our friends at Yogi Bear's Jellystone Park Camp Resorts. Hello, Bill, and welcome back to the RV Atlas. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you? Good to be back.
It's great to see your face. I have not seen you in person in over a year. I missed you at Carolina Pines this year. Last year it was nice to get to hang with you a little bit. How has spring camping been going for you?
Well, we took a trip down over the Easter break. We took a trip down to St. Augustine, Florida, and then on the way back up, we stopped in Hilton Head, South Carolina, which uh, my wife and I had stopped on our way down to my mother-in-law's last winter just to kind of see the area, and we really liked it. So we said we have to go back with the RV, and that's what we did.
And we're going to review the campground you stayed out there, but where did you stay in Florida, RV wise?
We stayed at Ocean Grove RV Resort in St. Augustine, which was it's a little south of St. Augustine, like the city. Uh, it's right on it's A1A. I mean, it's right. It's a block off the beach, so it's you could ride your bike or walk to the beach if you wanted to. And that was a nice campground also. Not at the level of Hilton Head National, but it was a definitely a great campground if you want to be close to the beach.
Now, I think it's fair to say that you and your awesome wife Nancy love RV resorts, and you love
Yeah,
to go south to warm, kind of beachy locations, right? I mean, does that to some
definitely.
degree sum up your camping style?
That pretty much sums it up. I mean, I don't mind if I'm doing a guy's trip or something, being in the woods, but Nancy is a glamper, and that's the way she likes to camp, and that's fine with me because these RV resorts we are finding are very nice.
Well, we all get to choose our own adventure, but I'm waiting for the day when I'm like, when I hear you saying like, "Yeah, we're going deep into the woods in Maine" or something like that. But no, we're going to beachy resort type places, and you're going to places that are in demand and that are popular and that are sort of on point and on trend right now. And Hilton Head National RV Resort, I'm thrilled to be getting this review from you because we went back to Carolina Pines. We didn't do something new this year, but I was
Right.
excited to hear that you went here and that we could do the review for this. So let's dive in. Like, where is Hilton Head National RV Resort located in terms of Hilton Head and that whole area? Like, I don't know the area super well, so just break it down for us beginners.
Okay, so the easiest way to get there is it's right off I-95. So if you're heading south or north on I-95, you'll have the Hilton Head exit, which is Route 278, and take that east towards the beach. And you'll go through, shopping and nice areas, and then you hit Bluffton, which is the city that's right before you hit the causeway to go onto Hilton Head Island itself. So this RV resort is just before that causeway. So it's connected to a golf club. The Hilton Head National Golf Resort is on one side, and then the other side is the RV resort. And then if you want to go into Hilton Head, it's about maybe a 10 to 12-minute ride, depending on traffic.
So in some ways, it's like Carolina Pines in that you're not right there in Myrtle Beach, but you're really
Yeah.
within striking distance. So was it easy to get back and forth to Hilton Head without too much traffic or too much stress?
Yeah. We were there during Easter week, and they were having the Hilton Head Heritage PGA golf tournament there that weekend also, and we didn't have any trouble with traffic or anything. We were able to move pretty freely, so it wasn't too bad at all.
Now, I'm constantly when places call themselves RV resorts, I'm sometimes that's a dubious claim for some places, and sometimes other places are truly RV resorts. So let's make that like a little bit of a sub theme of our conversation. But just bluntly, is this truly an RV resort?
This is the nicest place to put your RV that I've ever been to. And now I said this last time I did the review on Carolina Pines, but I not that it's as amenity rich as Carolina Pines, but it's nicer. So I think this is the nicest place we've ever stayed, and I can't imagine something being nicer than this. I don't know what another RV resort could do that could one up this place as far as quality and the uh, just the care that's taken in the whole resort.
Now for our listeners out there, that's coming from somebody that's been to Carolina Pines, has been to Massey's, has been to Castaways. You've been to a lot of these. Oh, and Anchor Down.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, you've guys have
Fort
covered a lot
Wilderness.
of the resorts in the whole Northeast and South.
Right,
That's high praise,
and
my friend.
yes, it's a beautiful, well done. I mean, they didn't miss a beat with anything. Every single thing you could think of is taken care of at this resort.
So can we like when I was looking at it on their website, the first thing I wanted to ask you about that screamed resort to me was the clubhouse. So can you describe like what that is like and what kind of vibe that gives off?
So it's the hub of the resort. It's uh, it's their version of like a camp store and clubhouse type of vibe. It's a little nicer than I would say a camp store that you would find anywhere else, but that's where they sell their camping supplies. There's also a part of that building where they have comfortable couches. There's a big TV inside. There's bathrooms, and then around the back there's a restaurant called Billy Mack's, which is like a almost like fast foodish type of food, burgers, pizza, that kind of stuff, right on the back of that same building with a screened in restaurant and bar and some outside seating. And then behind that is the whole pool complex. So it's kind of the hub of the resort and where everybody, gathers.
So let's talk about did you guys eat there? Or did you not eat
Uh,
there?
we did not eat there. Yeah.
And tell us why.
So my wife and I, we eat a vegan diet, so we bring a lot of our food with us, but we bring most of our food with us. Now we could have gotten a pizza, and just not had to make without the cheese, throw some vegetables on it, would have been fine. But we didn't. We ended up our RV. When I had booked this, my site was the first site in front of this building, so I knew I wanted to be close to the building. So it was very easy for us to just run back to the RV to eat or grab something, and so that was very convenient. But there are sites that are not close to this building where you would need a golf cart or a bicycle, or it would be a good walk to get there for sure.
I mean, to me, that is one of the even though that's not something you guys were utilizing while you were there, having on-site food is a hallmark of an RV resort to me. And if a campground doesn't have any kind of either quick service or a full-on restaurant or a bar, I would hesitate to call it an RV resort. Did you get any sense whether those places were popular for food and drink? Were there a lot of people moving in and out? Did it seem like people liked it?
Yeah, when we were there, like mid afternoon, the people were getting pizza. They were sitting outside. The food looked good. Um, they had a lot of different choices. It wasn't super expensive. It was, on average, I would say, with if you were at a, I don't know, maybe more expensive than a fast food restaurant, but kind of like hotel prices, but not too bad. And they had a full bar with they had people going around. Like if you wanted to order drinks while you were sitting from your lounge chair, you could do that. And then on the other side of the pool, maybe 50 feet from the actual bar, there was a tiki bar, so that they had a bartender in on the weekends. So that was nice also. So if you wanted to, while you were in the pool, you didn't have to go into the bar. You could just walk up in your bathing suit and get a drink right around the pool deck there.
Awesome. So then, like, the pool looks really, really nice from the photos on the website. Can you tell us a little bit more about like pool, hot tub, how all that plays out?
So there's it was interesting because we were curious if we wanted to go in the hot tub, and when we were around the pool, we noticed there is no hot tub. So the way they built this pool is it has a zero entry. So it's great for little kids. They can walk right in or sit in the shallow water. Then it gets deeper. There's some like water features that kind of splash into the pool. And then there's a lazy river that's attached to the pool that floats under a couple of bridges, and it just slowly meanders around the pool. And so you have those floats around the pool. There's cabanas that you can rent around the pool deck also. And then right outside the fence for the pool deck, there's a pickleball court, a basketball court. There's a really nice playground for smaller kids with like a rubbery surface. So if they fell off, they wouldn't get hurt. So it's a really nice area for just being with the family, no matter how old your kids are, or whatever you want to do. It's a nice place to chill.
A couple, I mean, just a couple thoughts. Like, I can't help but compare it to Carolina Pines. I almost feel that somebody, if I just dropped them into the middle of this podcast, would think you were talking about Carolina Pines, though everything seems more compressed and together, where like the pickleball courts are far away from the clubhouse in Carolina Pines. But you mentioned the playground, and you and I talked about this a little bit. We texted back and forth. I just really wanna know, did you feel like this was a family-friendly RV resort, or if it's a RV resort that just kinda nods to the kids, there's just enough to keep the kids busy, but the place is adult-centric? And I am asking you selfishly because I am thinking of booking this next spring break, so I wanna know, I wanna know, is this gonna work for me and my 3 kids and my wife and all of us, you know?
Well, do they don't have that play structure with the dumping buckets and the water park with the slides. They don't have anything like that. They also don't have a mini golf course, and they don't have the water slides and things like that. So there were plenty of families there, and the kids were having a great time. But it was pretty much the lazy river, or they were just making their own fun in the pool. It wasn't like a dedicated area for kids like Carolina Pines has. And there's more pools at Carolina Pines, so you have the opportunity to separate yourself from the kids if you want to. Here, you were kind of if you were at that main pool and there were a lot of kids, you had to deal with a lot of kids splashing around and being. So it was for a family with kids. Carolina Pines is probably a better resort. For me, with just traveling with my wife, this is definitely a little more upscale, a little more adult oriented, but there definitely were kids there.
Now, I've been wanting to tell people in our audience this for a while, and I just keep forgetting to mention it, like in the RV Atlas group. While we were at Carolina Pines, there was a sign posted that said that the main pool, which they call the Serenity Pool, starting Memorial Day weekend, that kids will not be allowed in that pool. That I think it said 16 and up will be allowed in
Right.
that pool. So moving forward, and for all the times we've gone there, our kids were allowed in that main pool, and then there's the second, definitely kids pool. So if you're going to Carolina Pines anytime after Memorial Day, your teenagers are going to have to go into what is decidedly a kids pool to me, not a kiddie pool, but a kids pool. So that's going to change the vibe at Carolina Pines for
Right.
sure. But anyway, I don't want to make this all a comparison. It's just it is very interesting comparing them because they're close enough that they're like an option
Right.
for people. Now, isn't there
Yeah.
like an adults only section here as well, or like sort of a what you called a campground within a campground? Can you break that down?
Yeah. So I'll talk about the actual campground itself now. When you first pull in, you pull into there's a check-in building. It's a small building where you go inside, you get all your paperwork. They have a desk there, and then when you come out of the building, there's a valet. So it'll be somebody in a golf cart. They open up a big gate that opens up, and you follow the golf cart, and they take you to your site. And this happens for everyone, no matter what time you get there. Um, so they have maybe 4 or 5 people waiting in golf carts as the campers show up. Then they take you into your site, they help you back in if you need it, and then they go on their way. Now, the campground has 341 total sites, so it's a pretty big campground. And they have a separate section, which is what you were just talking about. It's like a campground within a campground. It's a gated area that's for adults only. And this area has about 45 sites in there. And they have a different variety of sites. They have 22 back-ins, 17 pull-in sites for motorhomes, and then 4 pull-through sites. And the pull-in sites are actually facing the golf course, and there's a lake in between the RV resort and the golf course that these pull-in sites look at. And this is called Water's Edge. And this area of the park has an adults-only pool. This is where the hot tub is, not where the kids can go. So the hot tub is over here. And they have a small clubhouse there on that side that has 8 private bathroom and shower rooms, as well as a cocktail lounge in there. So it's definitely geared for adults in this section. This section, when we were there, was filled with $200,000 and $300,000 motorhomes. That seemed to be what was in this area. It was definitely an upscale section of the park, and the site prices in this area range between $169 and $159. So depending on if you got a pull through or a pull in or whatever it was. The rest of the campground, it's mostly back-ins, I have to say. Also, they have, I'm looking down at the map here. I'd say they maybe have 15 pull-throughs out of the whole campground, but they're such big, beautiful sites that really there's not one site in this whole park that would be hard to back into, that you would have any trouble getting any size rig in or out of. It is just every site is perfectly designed. I mean, really, and some of them are just they're so big that you're like, what? You know, they could have probably doubled the amount of sites they had if they made them smaller. So it's in that sense, it's really well done, and they have a few pull-in sites in this area also.
You even liked the utility pedestals. I think you posted a picture in the
Yeah,
RV Atlas group, like, about how
I did.
awesome the utility pedestals are. And look, as an RV owner, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, you can get some sloppy, old, crusty utility pedestals, and that says something about a
Yeah.
campground. But what was so cool about these pedestals?
Well, first of all, the pedestal itself has its own concrete pad that was about like a 4x4 section of your site that kind of jutted out, and it was completely surrounded by concrete, and your sewer drain was in that concrete, so you didn't have to be on the dirt at all if you didn't want to. And it's almost like a marine style power pedestal. It had your cable hookups in there, all your power hookups, water, everything was in there, and it looked like a little lighthouse. And here's something I bet nobody has seen at any campground ever. They would have the workers going around as soon as you pulled out, if like you were leaving for the day, they'd clean out the fire pit and they would wipe down the power pedestal. They'd actually clean it off, like they'd go around with rags and polish it. And they were shining. When I tell you these power pedestals were shining, there wasn't a speck of dirt on them. I mean, just perfect, really just amazing.
Stephanie often complains, I think is a fair word, that a lot of places will call themselves RV resorts, charge you a lot, and then not provide a resort experience in the sense that we're used to
Right.
at hotel type resorts. And what you just described is a resort level experience to me, like cleaning out of the fire pits, the wiping down of the pedals. I love to hear that because, like, if you're,
Yeah.
like, what are you paying for, right? And by the way, how much were those sites? You gave us the sites in the adults only
Okay.
section. So how much were these awesome sites? And I love hearing that they're
Right.
giving you those extras.
So this part of the park, to me, I thought this was reasonable. You know, we live up in the Northeast. You live in Jersey. I live on Long Island, and a Jellystone can cost $200 a night. You know, it's expensive up here. So the premium back-in sites are $109 a night. They actually have a couple of buddy sites, which are 120 a night. Um, the premium clubhouse sites, now those are the ones that are closer to the main pool area, and I had one of those. Those were 129 a night, and that's it. That's the most expensive So $130 a night is where that's going to max out, but you don't have to spend that much. You can get them for as little as 109, which I think is for this level of campground. I think this is more than fair.
I think so too, and I think that our perception of price is affected by what part of the country we're from. I can totally picture a listener
Yeah.
from the Midwest or from some other part of the country going, "Oh my god, that's expensive." But then from us in the Northeast, we're like, "Oh, that's less than we're paying here for these types of
Right.
places." And and I think I can speak for Stephanie too. Like, we don't ever mind the higher prices if the experience is there. And like when you talk about this place, you're kind of smiling. Like, I feel like you did have a really, really nice experience, and it seems like you wouldn't hesitate to go back.
Well, we are. So we liked it so much that now we had only booked 4 nights. I'm going back in July for 8 nights. So as soon as we drove out of there, we were on the phone while we were heading back up north, and we booked another 8 nights in July because we liked it so much. We had plans actually to go to Destin and then to go down through Florida and then go to Disney for a few nights, and we actually canceled those plans, and we decided we're just going to come here for that time frame that we were planning on traveling to Destin. So I mean, and not just because
You
it's cheaper.
canceled Disney for this.
That's right. Yes,
For
yes, I
those who
did.
don't know Bill
And
as
not that
well as Bill is famously a Disney World guy, one of the two men behind Disney Image Makers, a huge, huge presence on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram, and Bill was a Disney devotee for, I think it's fair to say, decades, right? And now like you're
well, yeah,
full into RV life.
we went to Disney twice last year. I mean, we have been going. We went in the summer, but we don't typically take the RV. We are DVC members, which is Disney's timeshare. So we like to stay at the resorts when we go, and I know you do the same thing. And but we were planning on going through with the RV to Fort Wilderness. Now, Fort Wilderness is, like, to me, a resort also. They blow your sights off. Everything's very clean and organized, just a lot more rustic than Hilton Head. So um, we decided we wanted to come here because we both love the beach. And this is about, like I said, a 10-15 minute ride to the beach. And we just wanted to have a relaxed, beach vacation, which Disney is not. So that's why we made the change.
And in July, is there some shade at Hilton Head National RV Resort? Because you were the first one on the RV Atlas to review Carolina Pines before my family ever went there. You inspired us to go there, quite frankly. And you noted in that first review of Carolina Pines that the sites lack shade and midsummer might be really tough there. So how is
Yeah.
that going to work for you guys? You have a little shade at the sites?
A little bit more. A lot of the sites are out in the open because it is a new resort, but they managed to build this and leave some of the trees there. There are some beautiful live oaks with the moss hanging under them that they managed to get sites underneath these. And there are also long stretches of sites where they're just full sun. So you really might want to watch a couple of YouTube videos, or I mean, the campground map doesn't really show you. So you look on Google Maps, and you might have to do a little bit of research, but you definitely can find a shaded site if if you do a little research.
And for those of you listening right now, if you go to the rvatlas.com, we'll have show notes, and Bill always provides amazing photographs. Bill, you're truly one of my favorite photographers in the world. So if you want to get a little, I'm not saying you got pictures of every site or something like that, but there'll be photos in the show notes to give people a feel of the campground. Before we move on, I just want to say, like, it sounds like this resort has a perspective and they know what they want to be. It sounds like they want to be adult centered, but kids can come too. Where I think that other RV resorts, and I might include Carolina Pines in this, are not sure if they want to be family friendly RV resorts or adult centric RV
Yeah.
resorts. And I wonder if the future holds RV resorts that have more of these separate areas, where there is the family area that's loud and crazy and fun, and then there could be the adult area for people that want to go in a hot tub and not get splashed in the face, as it were.
Well, this RV resort, I think, caters to I don't know if it's a different clientele, but there were a lot of expensive rigs there at this time. Now, I don't know if it was because the PGA tournament was there, but there were a lot of, like, big, diesel pusher motorhomes there. Um, you know, Very expensive fifth wheels, like mobile suites, and, like, big campers were there. There were also, you had your, smaller, you know, travel trails and things like that, but there were more of the bigger, expensive rigs there. And curiously, this RV resort has no cabins. There's no cottages, no cabins. There's no way to stay without an RV. So it's RV only, which may help them and may hurt them. I don't know. If we were there during Easter week, and the resort was not full. They were probably at about 60%. And I don't know if maybe some of those spaces were given to cabins. Maybe more people would come down for that. I'm not sure. Hilton Head does. They have a lot of hotels on Hilton Head, but this is right outside of Hilton Head, so it might be a good spot for people if they don't have an RV. If they can stay in a cabin. So I'm not sure what their thought process was with that.
I wonder if it's part of an adult-centric mentality, because I do think that cabin rentals at a lot of campgrounds are attractive for families, and probably
I agree.
more often than not are catering to families as opposed to, a retiree or something like that who's gonna be more. I mean, I like a campground that knows what it wants to be, right? And it sounds
Yeah,
like this one
yeah,
does.
definitely.
So any other standout amenities that you didn't get to mention? Anything else that we didn't cover?
Um, I don't know. It's the laundry facilities are spectacular. I mean, they are brand new. I want to say there were maybe something like 15 washers, 15 dryers. It was 250 per load, and 250 to dry that same amount of clothes. The bathrooms were immaculate. They're private bathrooms, so you go inside. The shower, the toilet, and the sink are all into a private room. Uh, there's dog parks there. There's one for smaller dogs, one for bigger dogs. There are walking trails that go all around the entire resort. So if you wanted to just take a walk in the morning, you don't have to walk just up and down the rows of the RVs. There's actually a trail that goes around the park. They also had a huge fire pit behind the whole pool complex. That every night there would be fires and people would gather there. And there's also a big open field behind the pool complex where they had cornhole set up, and they had those kind of like lawn games out there, just open space. So like if kids wanted to throw a football around, they could do that. There's a lot of space in between the sites, so you're not right on top of your neighbor. So it feels like a very open campground, which is really nice. You don't feel cramped in any way.
They seem to be quite proud of those bathrooms. Those are all things on the website too, and they also have a really nice, dog washing station, so, pet
Oh
friendly,
yes, yes,
which
they have that also
and I love to see that too.
indoors.
And it was indoors, and that's another aspect of, like, if you're gonna charge 100, 150 a night, resort prices, 50% of us RV owners travel with our dogs, and to have some facilities for the pets there's built-in value there, right? And that's another
Oh, definitely.
justification for charging those types of prices. Alright, so we're gonna come back in a second, and, Bill's gonna tell us some of the things that, he and Nancy did in Hilton Head, and if you have anything else about the campground, we can throw it in. But before we come back, we have sponsored messages from our friends at Camco and from our friends at Go RVing. Welcome back to let me start that again, Sean. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are here with Bill from A Camper and a Camera and Disney Image Makers. And Bill and Nancy were also in the first episode of my Go RVing show, Six Things I Love About My RV. And I'm still very, very thankful that they were the guinea pigs for that show,
That's
which we
fun.
filmed at Turkey Swamp Park in New Jersey, which is the exact opposite of Hilton Head National RV Resort.
It really is. I mean, it really, yeah. I mean, but that type of camping is nice also sometimes. It doesn't always have to be an RV resort.
For you
In my
guys, I
house it
think it
does, but
does.
yeah, right.
Hey, good
It
for
does
you.
here,
You
but
live in
not
the
for
right part of
everyone.
the country too, by the way, because we
I
have a
disagree.
lot of them.
Oh, I want to be in the South. I'm tired of winter. Imagine if you lived in South Carolina. Yeah, I mean, you could RV all year long. Up here, I got to pack that thing away in the winter, and I hate it.
We dart out of here every spring break for South Carolina. And every year we
Me too.
talk about, let's do something different. Let's go somewhere else. And we're like, South Carolina in April for us people here in the Northeast, man, it's heaven. We had 4 heavenly beach days in a row on this spring break.
Yeah,
Okay, so what did
we
you
deserve
and
it.
Nancy do in the Hilton Head area? Anything that was really fun that you want to talk about?
So Hilton Head Island is, we didn't really know this, but it's a super bike friendly island, and they rent bicycles all over the place. There's bike trails on almost every street has got a bike path next to it, so you can get around the whole island by bicycle. And we brought our e-bikes with us, And what I did was I put them on the back of the truck, and we drove into um, like the center of Hilton Head, like kind of where the beach access is and like all the public parking is. And we just took them off the back of the truck. And you're allowed to ride your bicycles on the beach in Hilton Head. So they have the beach has like a nice hard pack to it. So the first 50 feet from the water is nice. It's very easy to ride a bicycle, even a regular bicycle that you're just pedaling. They were hundreds of bicycles going up and down the beach all day long. So we did about 10 to 15 miles going up and down the beach a couple of times, and it was great. And that's something that up here, even though I live 10 minutes from the beach, we don't really do that here. And they have a bicycle culture there. So we drove all around the island, and we spent our time on bicycles, a lot of it, and that was really great. Um,
Well, I have
so
to
if
ask
you're
you
if
because
you get
everyone's
yeah.
asking in the RV Atlas group, just super quickly, what type of e-bikes do you guys have and do you like them?
So Nancy has one that's called Ride One Up. It's a step through e-bike that is got like 2.5 inch tires. It's not like a real beach cruiser type bike, and it's definitely for someone who's a little bit smaller. It works for her. She's about 5'7", 5'8", and it's a good sized bike. I have something called a Magicycle, which is a more of like a 4-inch fat tire e-bike. It's a big bike, and it's about 75 pounds, and for a lot of people it might be a little bit much, but it ate up the beach. I mean, it was no problem at all. So both bikes did really fine, and we had a great time doing that. It was really nice.
Awesome. So, I mean, that sounds like so much fun to me, right? Just to throw the e-bikes in the back of the truck, head up there, and just cruise around. So, anything else that you guys really enjoyed in Hilton Head?
Yeah, we didn't, we were only there for 4 nights, and the first night we just stayed at the resort. And so one of the nights, what we did, they had that Hilton Head PJ Classic. So we really didn't. There's a whole part of Hilton Head. I think it's called Sea Pines. It's I guess it's a gated area of the island because you have to pay to get into it. So you have to pay $9 per car to get into it. And there's beautiful homes and there's restaurants and shopping. But if you wanted to go to the Hilton Head Lighthouse, that's where you would have to go. So we decided one night we're going to take a ride to the lighthouse. And we did. And when you get over to the lighthouse, we parked the car. And I think because the golf tournament was going on, the entire marina was filled with yachts. And when I'm saying yachts, like $40 million yachts, like I've never seen anything like this. And each one of them had music going and parties, and there were people all over the place. And there's shopping and restaurants and bars. So it was a very lively atmosphere, live music. So we really enjoyed that. And we kind of stumbled onto that. We didn't realize that that would be going on. So that's an area of the island that we want to go back to again, maybe during the day, and check out the lighthouse and see all of that. I'm not a golfer, so all of that is lost on me, but there's a lot of golf courses on Hilton Head. I mean, I think that's what it's known for. And if you like golf, this seems to be the place to come. I mean, there's just golf everywhere. Uh, that was pretty much it. There was, we did a lot of shopping, and there's a lot of little restaurants and cute shops and places to go. And Bluffton, which is where we were staying, is also a nice area. And if you need anything, that's where you're going to find Target, Walmart, and supermarkets, and pretty much anything you might need, you'll find in Bluffton, in that area there. And I think what else.
Let me ask
Bluffton
you.
has its little old town area also, so there's definitely stuff to look at.
Let me ask you this too. Like, for you guys, and for for what you like to do, what you love to do. Does Hilton Head work better for you than Myrtle? Myrtle's got a crazy, zany, crowded family side, and I mean, Myrtle's got a little bit of everything, but I mean, are you more drawn now to Hilton Head as your South Carolina spot than you are to Myrtle?
Um, you can't beat the beach access of some of the Myrtle Beach, those mega resorts that are right on the beach. So if you want to camp right on the beach, you have to go to Myrtle Beach because there's nothing like that in Hilton Head. But for a couple, I like Hilton Head better. We did Myrtle Beach a lot when the kids were little. Um, we've done it, I don't know, maybe 10 times we've been to Myrtle Beach, and we had a good time all the time, and especially with families. I think Myrtle Beach is more geared for that than Hilton Head. But as a couple or a retiree, I would definitely go to Hilton Head. Myrtle Beach is a lot of fun. They have Broadway on the beach. You can they have little amusement parks and that kind of stuff. There's a little less of that on Hilton Head. Families can definitely have a nice time. Don't get me wrong. If you're into the beach at all, Hilton Head's beach is beautiful. I mean, it's definitely a great beach to go to, and there were a ton of families and kids, and you know, a lot of that. So it's just a different vibe. It totally, they don't have the high rises on the beach like they do in Myrtle Beach, where that like a 15-story, hotel right on the beach. It's not like that. Everything's shrouded in the live oaks. It's more lush. It's just a different feeling. Sure.
All right, my resort expert. So is this out of the places you've gone, is it your personal favorite? Obviously, it's a subjective question, but is it your new personal favorite for an RV resort that just ticks off all the boxes for you and Nancy?
As a couple, yeah, I would say we really like this because we like the beach and we like the heat. You know, it may not be for everyone. For someone in the summer, like I would have no hesitation to go down here and sit in 100-degree heat and the humidity. I'm fine with that. Where other people may want to head up to Boston and go to Normandy Farms and be in the woods and the shade and all of that. So, you have to know what kind of camper you are and what you like. Um, but I mean, as far as amenities and quality of a resort, I can't imagine it being any better than this. And the area is beautiful. It's just a beautiful area. And just so you know, also, it's about an hour and a half to Charleston if you wanted to go, and it's a half-hour drive to Savannah. So that on our next trip, we plan on maybe taking a day trip to either one or both uh, because they're so close and accessible.
That's huge because if you're doing a week at Hilton Head National RV Resort and you say, "Hey, let's do a day in Savannah, let's do a day in Charleston," that's a really nice week's vacation right there, man.
Yeah,
Um,
and there's really not a lot of other places to stay on Hilton Head or in that area. There's a motor coach only resort that's on the island that we drove through, and it's beautiful, but it's an ownership resort. And then there's another one called, I think it's Hilton Head Marina and RV Resort, which is also an ownership resort, and they do rentals there also, and you can bring fifth wheels and travel trailers in there. But again, those are right over the causeway, so you're still a little bit of a ways to the beach. So I think where we stayed, Hilton Head National, if you, it's just it's fantastic. I mean, in that area, I can't think of a better place to stay.
and you didn't feel like a peasant in your Flagstaff fifth wheel next to all the
Oh no, no,
luxurious
no! It wasn't like that.
motorhomes.
No, it wasn't like that. It was there were plenty of like tin-sided travel trailers and young families, and but there were a lot of big fifth wheels, and there were a lot of this resort had the most like Class A diesel pusher, Integras and Tiffin buses and those type of RVs than I've ever seen at any other resort. But it was also plenty of other types of resorts also, RVs also. But yeah, there was definitely some high end hardware there for sure.
High-end hardware. When I'm a like, I feel like my 32-foot Grand Design, like, is so fancy to me, like, it's so spacious to me, even though there's the 5 of us and Maggie and everything, but then when I show up at Carolina Pines, I'm like, "Oh my god, my RV is so small." It's, like, dwarfed
I
by
know.
all of these fifth wheels around me, but then,
Well,
but then
you've
there's
been in my
somebody in a
fifth wheel.
pop-up camper.
Right. Well, you've seen my fifth wheel, and it's a good sized fifth wheel, and it's perfectly fine for us, and we love it. But we were parked next to. I mean, there were a lot of Montanas, and it's just people like retire, almost like people full timers would buy, or people that are 6 months out of the year they're in these fifth wheels. Like full body, full profile, wide body fifth wheels that you could live in. Like there were a lot of those also.
And there's a lot of places where they can't fit. So it's not surprising that you
Yeah.
go to a place like this that's catering to the size of their rigs and everything. It makes a lot of sense. Bill, I can't thank you enough for all these great RV resort reviews you've given us over the years. I mean, you're keeping us like totally
Well,
on trend with what's happening out there. We've been a little boring with I think 3 years of Carolina Pines. So thank you so much, my friend.
no, listen, if I come across anything that I think would work, I'll definitely get in touch. I mean, we don't have anything that we haven't been to already planned this year. This was like the first new resort, but I'm always looking to branch out. But Destin is an area that I want to get to. It's just such a long ride for us, but I definitely want to get there. I think there's a few there that I'd like to try out.
Well, I think Hilton Head National could be a good roughly halfway point. to Destin, right? You could
Definitely.
break up the trip to
I agree.
Destin by staying here. I hope to see you in person soon. Thank you so much for coming back on the RV Atlas.
Anytime.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the RV Atlas.
To find out more about the topics discussed on this show, head on over to thervatlas.com.
And to join the friendliest group of RVers, head on over to the RV Atlas group on Facebook and make sure to join us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at the RV Atlas.
If you enjoy our show, please consider leaving us a review over on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
And we will see you at the campground.
See you at the campground.